Hello. Oh my gosh. I'm so freaking happy to have you here. Because when it comes to everything, being photogenic, looking good in photos, oh my god. Let me tell you, like, this has been the theme of my life, and this is something that I'm absolutely so freaking nerdy about. And I know a thing or two about looking good in photos. So you are at the exact right place if you feel that right now that you are struggling with the way that you look in photos and you really don't feel that the way that you imagine in your head, the way that you feel that you look, it doesn't match up when you see photos or when other people take photos of you. 100% I get it, and you're in the right place. And today I'm going to show you that you can look so freaking amazing, and we're talking like 10 times more better than you even imagined. I'm Mary, by the way, and I am originally from Sweden, but I moved here to Paris around 3 years ago. And when I moved here, I didn't know zero about photography. I had zero creative skills. So before I used to work as a fashion buyer, but I had a sort of a crisis. I'm not gonna go into too much into detail right now, but I just wanted to show you that when I started out, I had zero photography skills, nothing like that. And most importantly, I was exactly where you are right now. So when I came to Paris, my idea was to get into the fashion influencer space, social media, and I had never done that before. And also, like, a big theme in my life has always been that I always felt like a side character, both internally but also that showed externally. So I hated the way that I looked in photos. I didn't really feel that my ideas, my potential was shown. So when I moved to Paris, I was so freaking excited to start creating, and I booked all of these sessions with content creators, photographers. I gathered all of these nice clothes that I got from my fashion job before. I was like, what could go wrong? I have everything going for me. I mean, we are in freaking Paris. But no, like, I was constantly disappointed. Of course, yes, sometimes I got like a nice photo, but I didn't really feel like myself. And even with like photographers, that was the thing. I thought like, oh my gosh, now I'm gonna book a session with like a professional photographer. No, it did not help at all. And after a couple of content sessions, constantly coming home disappointed, and you probably know what I mean. You know how much energy, effort that goes into those content sessions just to come home feeling disappointed. But after a couple of those, like, you're starting to lose hope, motivation, your spark, and most importantly, you start to feel that you are less special. Maybe I'm not just like those, on socials that just looks amazing. They have their unique touch. Their aesthetic is just so magnetic, and you're just drawn to their content. So it came to a point where I was like, fuck this shit, I had enough. I'm gonna take this in my own hands. I'm tired of looking, decent, looking like shit, not looking like shit, but you know what I mean. I just felt like I have so much more potential in there. I know the vision that I have in my head. I feel like nobody's gonna help me do it. I'm gonna do it myself. So I went on this journey of self-discovery, of learning how to look good in photos, doing photography, and it literally started with me just wanted to take some decent photos, but then it just ended up like being a full freaking transformation. And I literally just created my own Vogue cover photo. I started to look like a freaking model, and I was so freaking beyond surprised. Naturally, I started to work as a photographer, and I started to apply these skills combined with styling, and there's all the things that I do to make this happen, but I'm gonna get into it later today, don't worry. And I was able to do this transformation with a woman that I worked with as well during my iconic brand program and services. So this works. I just want to show you that you have all the potential. This is not something that is just privileged to a few people that happen to be photogenic. Of course, it's easier for them, but you can look freaking amazing too. And I have zero doubt about that. I know it's for a fact because I do it every single day. I live it, I breathe it. So, oh my gosh, let's jump in, let's deep dive into starting your photogenic journey. This one major huge thing that I realized when I made my transformation that is key for you too if you really want to start looking your best fucking amazing ever was that holy fuck, it's not me, I look good, I look amazing. It's actually what's going on behind the camera. It's the person that took my photo that didn't know how to take the photo properly. So 70% is what's going on behind the camera, and 30% is what you can affect yourself by the way that you look and all of that stuff. So if you can imagine, like 70% is behind the camera. So what I want to say with this is that you look amazing, you look fine, there's nothing wrong with you. So it's super important to realize that and get that out of your head. And then another realization that I made that literally changed the game for me, this is when I rapid fire started to look so much better in photos and still like evolve to this day. And that is to really be real here and really realize that no one is that invested in you looking good unless you're working with me, because I know exactly where you've been to, and this is like my biggest nerdiness of all times, or if you work with someone that is really skilled with this. But if you in general take photos with, you know, normal people or even content creators, and to be honest, I don't want to be like very cocky, but a lot of photographers I would say fall into that category too, unless you're working with someone that is super skilled, super passionate, and super invested in you looking good. But otherwise, I would say 70%, no one is that invested in you looking good. And why is this important to know? Well, so I'm gonna take you back to when I was struggling taking all of that content with all of these content creators and photographers. So what I did during these sessions, I had all of these amazing ideas, I did my glam, I had my perfect outfit on, and then what I would do is that I would just leave the phone or the camera to the other person and just let them do the magic. Well, the thing here is that that person doesn't really care that much. Of course, they might try a little, but they're not super, you know, oh my gosh, I'm gonna make her look amazing. When I stopped expecting other people to make me look good and started taking it in my own hands, whether it be being super picky with who I create with, finding photographers that are super skilled and have the same vision, the same style, and I know that they're gonna do the great job, or learning it yourself. So my first recommendation for you, so this is what I did myself when I just felt really stuck. What I did is that I went through my whole camera roll and I looked up the photos where I felt like, oh my gosh, I looked freaking amazing, or like, you know, the best photos that you have where you really felt like you look good, and start to analyze those photos. Really, like with detector glasses, really look at it from like an analytical perspective, because there is a science behind you looking good in that photo. So look at everything. What were you wearing? What was the angle? What was the lighting setting? All of that. So this is basically how I started. And then I want you to do the same thing, but on the total opposite end. You want to find your worst photos, the ones that you really don't like, if you have any saved. And then you want to go in again and just analyze, why did I look like shit in these photos? Was there anything with the styling? Was it anything with the photography? How was the angle? How was the light? this, my friend, will start to open up your eyes and really make more better decisions, but also help other people in the guidelining of how you want to look and how you don't want to look. To photography and mastering the art of using photography to make it look better. You guessed it right, light is key. It was when I learned to master light when things shifted in how I looked. So there's a lot of different methods, a lot of different things that you can do when it comes to light, but today I'm gonna focus on one thing, the biggest thing that you're gonna focus on to make that big shift. So, darling, the one thing that you want to learn when it comes to light, and when I learned this and mastered this, holy fuck. Because to be honest, there's endless things you can do with light, but focus on this one for this summer, and I promise you that you will start to see a major shift in the way that you look. I am talking about light direction. You can get so freaking creative with this, but most importantly, you can use this as a tool to look 10 times freaking better no matter how you look like. So when it comes to light direction, there are different directions that you can work with. So light direction, just simply put, I think you probably already know, but that is the direction of the light, how it hits the subject that you're taking the photo of, or the subject that is in the photo, the direction that the light is hitting the subject. So it can be from behind, then we have backlight, and it can be straight front ahead. I like to call that direct light, and then we have something that I like to call a side light. So today, my friend, we're gonna focus on the side light because this is where the magic shit happens. So just so you can understand the power of using side light, I'm gonna give you a reference of this tool, and I'm gonna reference to makeup. So you know the process of contouring your face, that you use a darker bronzer shade to contour your face, right? And this does magic wonders. So this is exactly the way that you want to look at when it comes to side light. Side light is your contouring tool, but the best thing here is that you don't only need to use it on your face, you can use it as a contour for your body as well. So I hope that you get the reference that I'm going with and really understand the power of this tool when you take photos, but also when you do videos, like everything visual, like content creation. So just a quick rundown of how it works, because it's truly important to understand how it works to be able to experiment and fully use its full-on power. So it's really basic easily. So the light from the sun hits from one side on your subject, and this on the other side creates a shadow play. So you can see those shadow plays as the contour, and then you can see the light up part where the sun hits, sorry, I cannot speak, as the highlights when you do your contouring on the makeup. It's exactly the way that it works. And another thing with this is that you can really adjust how much shadow and how much highlight that you want simply by rotating your position. So to be able to really nail this and master this, I just have to say one thing, it's all about the position. So do really play around with positioning and really get nerdy about it. It's all in the millimeters, it's all about the details, because once you nail that perfect position, this is when magic happens. So to be able to fully master this, if you find yourself taking photos with other people, it's crucially essential that they guide you through this process, because it's super difficult, like it's impossible for you to know how to stand when you take your photos. You have to see it through the camera lens, But I strongly also recommend to do it yourself with the selfie camera. You don't even have to do like a full-on content session. You can just do it by yourself with the selfie camera, find a quiet corner somewhere just to experiment, because I really want you to try this out because it is such a powerful tool. What you could also do when you take photos with other people is that you can use the selfie camera and check the light and just experiment with the light direction, and then when you find a spot where you feel like, oh my gosh, like this looks so good on me, then just have that other person replicate that and take that photo of you. So that is also another tip, as we talked about, leaving as little as possible up to another person, because I can almost guarantee that they don't know about this at all. So you're gonna have to take control. Not only photography, it's also styling. Styling plays a huge part. There's only so much that I can do as a photographer, and that doesn't matter if you have the most skilled photographer ever. If your styling is not on point and you have not mastered the art of styling correctly, we're not talking about just putting out a nice outfit. That is a completely different thing. We're talking about styling for aesthetic, styling for photography, and you match photography with that and the styling for aesthetic and combine them. This is when magic shit happens. Like, this is when you step into your next iconic self and you will not even begin to recognize the way that you look. Styling plays a huge part, and this is something that I had to learn myself doing my transformation. And I just want to say here, like, this has nothing to do with you having a good or a bad style. When I started out, like, I had worked in the fashion industry as a fashion buyer. I was also considered by my friends having a good style, and fashion has always been my thing. But I felt so disappointed when I started taking photos because I felt like my style wasn't really looking the way that I envisioned in my head. And if you feel like this too, I don't know if this has happened to you, that you put on a great outfit, everything feels great, and then when you're out taking photos, whether it's private or content creation, it's just not looking the way that it looked when you were at home, checking yourself in the mirror, feeling super confident, you know, thinking like, oh my gosh, like I need to take a photo in this fit, like this fit is so good. Well, it's because there is a difference between just styling for a nice outfit versus what I like to call styling for aesthetic, styling for photography. Those are two completely different things. So I was totally obsessed, or I have always been obsessed with like reading Vogue magazines ever since I was small. But at this time I was even more obsessed and studying fashion editorials, and I was truly fascinated about how they managed to make everything just look so freaking on point. And this is when I started to realize, holy shit, it's not just about the photography. I saw a red thread in the styling, and not just like, oh yeah, you have to have a nice outfit. No, there's a different way of doing styling to make you look good in photos. So the one thing that should be your main priority is silhouette. I don't care about anything else. Of course, the other things are nice, but the silhouette is the first thing. So now this is my main priority, because when I skip this, when I don't really think about it too much, this is when I have those photo shoots when everything just feels slow, it just doesn't feel right, and I really have to struggle and put a lot of effort when it comes to the photography part. So it became very clear to me when I started prioritizing silhouette. This is when things shifted, and you will see that change too for you. So what is silhouette? So it's super important to really understand what that is. So silhouette is basically how the clothes fit on your body, most importantly the shape. So the main difference here like styling privately, just putting on a cute outfit, or if you want to start styling for aesthetics and photo, is that you have to see it as a form of art. You are literally creating art when you're putting your outfit together, especially when it comes to the silhouette. You want to create a very aesthetic, pleasingly shape. So I have taken a couple of example photos from a photo shoot that I had with one of my branding clients, and it was so amazing to see. She really wanted to relaunch her online presence again. She really loved this YSL high-end luxe vibe, minimalistic, cool girl. For me, my main priority when I worked with her and we kind of looked for outfits to have for her Paris content day session was really the silhouette. That is the only thing that I look at, especially from a photographer's point of view, because I know that will determine how well the rest will look like. So if you look at all of these photos, you can see that the shape is really, it's not just like, oh, it's flattering or it looks nice. No, the shape is aesthetically pleasing, and that creates a really, dramatic aesthetic effect. And I'm gonna tell you, like, taking these photos was like a piece of cake, because we have already done the work with working on the silhouette and making sure that it looks good. And I also want to say here that this can be applied to whatever style you have, whatever body shape you have. It can be applied to anything, and this is what these high fashion or fashion stylists are super skilled at. They know how to put this together, and they already see and imagine how things is gonna look in the photo. I love these shoots personally because we really nailed that silhouette. It was like on point. It was like a fantastic day in Paris, and it literally felt like we were in our own YSL editorial world. And I also wanted to just leave you with this. Like, I could give you specific tips about this because there is a whole science behind it, but the reason why I chose not to give you specific tips is because this is super personal depending on your body shape and your style. So I really don't want to give any tips that is not going to be beneficial for you. It's better for you to know and understand and have this new realization about looking differently at your styling process, but most importantly, the silhouette, the shape. Make that your first priority, to nail that first, and then you can focus on accessory details, colors, and all of those things. To be honest, if the silhouette is not there, the other things will not matter. Once you start to take control of the way that you look, like, magic things will happen. And I remember so vividly my own transformation and like the goosebumps that I got and the spark in my eyes. Like, it's a feeling that it's like completely beyond. And for me, I really want you to experience that too. I feel that everyone deserves to have that. Nobody deserves to feel like a fucking side character. Especially, I feel like this is even extra important when you do social media, because I feel like it just helps with your confidence to show up the way that you imagine. I see this all the time when I work with my clients. I do the iconic brand glow up package. Like, when they come to Paris, we usually do their whole branding and really find their own unique touch formula. We do the whole styling, and I help them to style for everything looking aesthetic. And then once this strategy is set, they come here for 2 days and we do batching sessions in Paris. And I get goosebumps, like, seeing the transformation. And they think like, oh, I'm gonna do like nice photos, but they're like, holy fuck, like, can I look like this? And I love helping my clients do that. So if you're interested in not only like having a photographer take your photos look good, but also actually learning the skills, hands down, one-on-one from me, a professional fashion photographer that knows it and that will teach you how to do it, so you can start to take your own control of how you look, and not only be 100% reliable on a photographer or finding someone that is a really good content creator, because once you tap into this feel like this is when you will be able to move faster, you'll be able to visualize your ideas. So I have the waiting list open for the iconic brand glow up program that I have very few spots open for. Like for these women that sign up to this program, I would say program is the wrong word. It's a full-on transformation glow up. I go all in 100%. And I'm not only here to just cash in and take photos, like I'm super dedicated in the way that you look. I'm super nerdy about fashion, aesthetics. For me, I know exactly how it felt like. I used to be on the other side of the spectrum, not feeling unique, not feeling special. And like, I live for this. I love being creative. I love creating your new aesthetic vibe, the whole look, and really see you transforming. That just gives me like the highest rush ever. So I have the link below if you want to sign up to the waiting list and be the first to know when the doors open for that. I will only have a few spots open. This is a very like one-on-one transformational service that I haven't really seen anywhere else out there. And to be honest, this is purely selfish because I felt like I was missing this when I started social media. I just wanted the whole package, the whole look, and everything to look the way that I wanted to really represent my vision. So with that said, I hope that you got inspired to start your own transformational journey and really let your true iconic self, you know her, the one that you have in your head, let her come out and play. She's ready. She's waiting for you. And with that said, I'm gonna enjoy my day in Paris. It's super nice weather. Keep starting.